Hey everyone! It is time to talk about fresh Joytoy releases. In this review we are going to look at the Tyrant Siege Iron Warrior Terminator. This is the first representative of this legion in my collection, but this figure is valuable not only because it introduces a new helmet, color and warrior type, but because firstly it represents a new body type, although not the first, coming second after the Lineans. Secondly, it's real novelty. These Terminators finally have projectile shooting effects, in this case missiles. Despite that, the kit is so modest that it can even be called poor. Although these are Iron Warriors, not to deprive them of something is to disrespect yourself, so that's okay for them, you know. So, this is a second generation Joytoy Cataphracti. Technically, aside from the Legion's signature style, I don't see any particular differences on the legs. There are pyramidal spikes on the shins, a Legion number 4 on the right knee, and a skull on the left, along with the black and yellow paintwork, the heraldic colors of the Iron Warriors. The main color of the entire armor is metallic, not particularly glossy. It looks good, not as nice as the Alpha Legion's color, but not as toy-like as the MK4000 Suns Red. Instead of the typical pompous fabric cloth, 6 bonded ceramide plates hang from the belt. The back is the usual layered armor. The torso is a key visual difference from previous models. It's wider, which we'll compare later. Detailing is usual for this type of armor. 3 power cables on the stomach, a colored stripes on the right chest part, and a gorget. Also, the Iron Warrior's Legion emblem is hidden here on the side of the torso. On the left arm there's a power fist, which also happens to be the only melee weapon. On the right is a standard Cataphracti arm. I really like the knightly aesthetic of this armor. The shoulder straps are beautifully crafted in my opinion, and even more interesting than those on the first Cataphractis, so they even have some highlighting. The shoulder pads themselves are standard, 2-tiered with heraldic stripes. Also they are symmetrical and have a gear-shaped ornament on the edge of the right one. On the back, as always, there are cables, a radiator and air ducts for the armor's reactor. The head is hidden under the dome, which has also changed, becoming a bit narrower and a bit taller. But this is completely overlooked by the new sinister helmet, which looks like a skull. It certainly doubles the meaning of the word Terminator. The top is completely smooth and looks like a ball. Red lenses at a very sinister angle, a cool imitation of a nasal cavity, and a Vox grill, along with tubes on the sides. Very brutal. This is surely one of the most aggressive Space Marine helmets. Usually my visual analysis ends at the head, but this is a Tyrant Siege Terminator. The guy has a missile superstructure that carries a complement of 12 missiles, a kind of portable artillery. Accordingly, there are 2 pods in the front, each with 6 launch ports, one of which has a function. We'll look at it soon. Red lights are at the center and edges of the pods. I suppose these are targeting cogitators. The rear side has the same ports for releasing starting fire and possibly reloading, and some air vents on the sides. The kit includes only 2 interchangeable hands, a clenched fist and a melee grip, both of which will likely be of a little use. A very basic dual Terminator bolter from the Heresy era, perfect for the right hand. And finally, a charged rocket cap. It features a small red detail, and a simple rocket smoke effect, which lacks some black or perhaps white accents. But fortunately looks better in real life than in the video. By the way, it's not the first shooting effects from Joytoy. They made a few more for the MX series, and they looked much more interesting. A cap can be inserted into the empty hole to create a fully charged appearance. To remove the cap there's a lever underneath the block that pushes it out, often in such a way that it actually fires. So technically this is the first action game feature from Joytoy. The missile fire effect works as the same principle, and I must say that it looks very interesting and fresh. Articulation is the same as any Cataphracti, using metal ball joints in the waist and legs. All basic movements are intact: toes, ankles, knees, hips, waist and chest, elbows, hands, shoulders, shoulder pads on ball joints, and head. Additionally, the missile pods can move up and down slightly, which is useful for posing. Unfortunately, the missile launcher itself can't rotate on the armor's dome. The Iron Warriors are the 4th Space Marine Legion. Their Primarch is Perturabo, the hero of memes about resentment and neglect. Currently, both the Legion and Primarch are Chaosites without the patronage of a specific god. They have their most significant relationships with the Imperial Fists and Rogaldorn. This Heresy era figure may technically still be a loyal warrior, but in any case he is extremely cruel and vicious. Joytoy released only 2 Terminators, a standard Siege Terminator and a Master Terminator, which has slightly different details, such as markings and cogitators, and uses a prosthetic right arm. I chose the basic version because it has a bit more color, and the armor style isn't ruined by the prosthesis. I've already discussed the cataphractoid armor characteristics in my reviews of the Imperial Fists and Abaddon, but you can only check them out on my different language channel. But there is some interesting discussion. Now about posing. And yes, there is nothing innovative about that. Indomitus Terminators had similar rocket launchers before, as did Power Fists. So running, walking, punching, shooting and kneeling are all possible. Basically everything is accessible. It looks great. And the highlight of the figure is of course the shooting effect. It really adds extra dynamism, while the figure can have a completely static pose. But I like the multitasking option, where he simultaneously fights an enemy in close combat and fires a missile at a distant target. It looks interesting and something that hasn't been seen before in Joytoy's Warhammer. A few comparisons. After all, we are using a new body type. A 1/18 scale BFS skeleton, a Scion, an Orc Commando, a 2nd generation Intercessor, Titus, a favorite adversary, a bitter enemy. We'll stop here. Here's a look at the old and new cataphractoid models. I don't know how the other reviewers do their reviews, I don't know how people take life-size photos, but everyone seems to think that the new cataphractoid is taller than the old one. Here is my angle, which shows that the only thing taller on the Iron Warrior is the top of the dome. The legs are identical, but you can see that the Imperial Fist shoulder pads are positioned higher, which is clearly noticeable. I will also put here one more picture to show how much wider the new waist than the old one. Here is a comparison with the really big cataphractoid and a modern Primarch. But there's one more interesting comparison. This is the Grey Knight. The thing is that the armor of these two guys is made of the same material, ceramide, and although they have similar metallic color, they have different shades. I don't know if it should be like this, and maybe the armor of the Grey Knight shines and shimmers more because of the Aegis system, but in any case it's an interesting observation. To summarize, the cataphractoids have largely escaped the noticeable changes I was worried about. They've changed slightly, the body has been updated, the waist is significantly wider and the figure itself is a millimeter taller. It's more of a proportional adjustment than a scale adjustment, as it was with the Primaris. The Iron Terminator is ideal for combat montages with Imperial Fists. The non-optional use of a Power Fist as the only melee weapon is a bit disappointing though. I'd like to see Hammer or Axe in addition, and perhaps even replace the fist with lightning claws, or even a shield like the Breachers. Otherwise, the figure is excellent, from the sculpt to the paint job. The new helmet style and the new functionality with the shot effect are clearly a plus, and I'd like to see more of this in Joytoy's Warhammer sets. Of course I understand the idea of basing figures on miniatures, but I think it's time to stop doing only that. That concludes the review. If you're an Iron Warrior fan, I definitely recommend this figure. Plus, if you don't like it, you can always send the guy to a decimation. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.